Good evening, everyone. My name is Julieth Noguez. I first want to thank my parents, husband, Claudia, Claudia, I'm so used to seeing Claudia in the hospitals, Javier, and my husband, Carlos. Because if it wasn't for them, I don't know where I would be. They have been there for me in every moment of my life. And I also want to thank SVU for helping me to get where I am today, and also for giving me this opportunity to speak about myself for a bit. Sorry. I was born in Tula, Hidalgo, Mexico, and came to the US at the age of 7 with my beautiful mother. At that point of her life, my mother had just won her battle against cancer and wanted to leave Mexico, not only to restart our lives, but also to try to help my grandmother out. During the time, my mother was battling cancer. My grandmother and my mother had to sell everything they owned in order to pay for the hospitals and her chemotherapies. The entire treatment bankrupted my family, and unlike the US, the hospitals in Mexico do not give any treatment unless the patient has the money on hand. And we did not have insurance or Medicaid that will help cover any of those treatments. To make matters worse, all schools in our time were private, and thus we always had to pay before I could attend school. And every single book had to be bought, and that was still not counting the uniform. Throughout my elementary years, I was always without my mother, and I even came to hate being part of school activities because of it. We saw the world was closing on us. The situation got so bad that a priest had to come to my mother's room to give her her farewell. But my mother kept on fighting. She always tells me that the only one person that kept her going was me. That every time she saw my face, she would tell herself that no matter what, she was going to fight and not leave me alone. Then one day, when my grandmother went to see her, she opened the door. She saw my mother with food. It was not common anymore. From there, she was on her way to recovery. Weeks later, my mother was finally allowed to come home. However, because our financial situation, things were still bad, and it was also having an effect on my grandmother. My mother decided to come to the US with me to give me the opportunity to get an education and have a better life. When she first told me that we were coming to the US, I didn't know what to think about. I really didn't know or understood what coming to the US meant. At the time, I thought that it was just another part of Mexico. When we finally made it to the US, we arrived in Arizona, and everything was strange to me. The people spoke this weird language that I didn't understood or had heard before. From Arizona, we took a plane to New York City, and that's where we call home until today. My aunt helped me, and my aunt helped me to put me in school and managed to put me into a bilingual class. My mother and aunt thought that putting me in a bilingual class will help me adapt to New York City. But even though my teachers could speak Spanish, it was not the same Spanish as they would speak to me in Mexico. I had one friend who was my next door neighbor who helped me a lot with the language. I used to need my uncle to translate so that we could understand each other, but soon we didn't need him anymore. On the other hand, my mother struggled finding a job, and after several months, she finally found a job in a factory. And there, she had to push herself. I sometimes wonder and ask myself how my mother was able to endure all the hardships. When I remember these moments, I get very emotional because hardships like these could easily overwhelm many people. But my mother gave up, and the more I think about this, the more I am inspired to give it my all and never give up. For every year that went by, the more I got used to calling New York my home. When I finally made it to high school, it seemed that everyone was talking about going on to college. The teachers would always speak of how expensive college was and how we needed to start filling out for financial aid and for scholarships. With every informative speech we will have on how to apply for financial aid, college, scholarships, the more clear it got to me that perhaps I wasn't going to be able to make it to college. And if I did, I would need to work full-time and take 1 or 2 courses, and perhaps graduate in 15 years. All of these because I was missing a document that said I was a legal resident in this country. It didn't matter if I put my all into school. I was just one more statistic of an undocumented person not going to college. Not because of their capabilities, but because they could not pay for college. Then came SVU, the ones who helped me fly higher than what I thought possible. When I first made it to SVU, I thought it was going to be a place where I just was going to play soccer, but it soon became more than that. The hope that I had lost early in high school, they gave it back to me, and more than that. They gave me the motivation to keep on moving on and to never give up in my dream, no matter how hard it may seem, or how many obstacles might get in my way. They helped me apply for DACA in 2015. And then they helped me apply for the Dream That Us scholarship, which has paid my 4 years in college. But not only that, they went further. Because of my situation, they discovered that I was able to apply for a legal green card, a legal residence, which is a green card, which not only allows me to apply for financial aid, but it also allowed me to visit my family in Mexico, and finally be a permanent legal resident in this country. With SVU, I have also been able to grow, not only as an athlete, but as a student and a person. I am currently 22 years old, and I am a senior at Lehman College, where I played 4 years. I would not be able to be here if it wasn't for my mother, who even life hit her hard with the work it has. She still managed to gather the strength to keep on fighting until she beat cancer, and then to give me a better life, even though this meant leaving our home country and all our family. My mother didn't care what she was losing, as long as it meant giving me a better opportunity. Then, I want to thank SVU for helping me in the times when I thought I wasn't going to be able to continue college. They gave me that final push that I needed. Thanks to them and my mother, I will be graduating this upcoming May with a bachelor's degree in anthropology. Thank you. They gave me that final push that I needed. Thanks to them and my mother. Oh, I already said that. Then I will be following my dream on becoming a conservator and become an example for all of those minorities that want to succeed in a field where it's very strange to see minority. so that we will no longer have to feel left out. I have been there as the only minority, the only Latina in a group of mostly middle-class white women. I want the next generation to see that no matter how hard life seems to get, or how many doors seem to close, never give up. The path to succeed is not easy. If you are one of the 3.6 million dreamers that are in this country, don't stop dreaming. Don't let anyone take your dreams away from you, no matter what they say or how hard they make it seem. It doesn't matter how high the walls is, our dreams will overcome them. There's a saying in Mexico that says, "Sí se puede," which means, yes, we can. Today, I would like to tell you, yes, we can. Thank you.
Last time for Julieth.